Maybe you need a refresher on how to add textures in Illustrator, or maybe it's completely new to you. So this video will help you out. There's two main ways to go about doing this. One where the texture, the colors within the texture become the new colors of the shape. And then another way where you can add the texture, but still maintain the, the color of your shape, the original color of the shape. So I'll show you what I mean. So let's use this partial circle that I have that's overlapping this orange square. This circle is a kind of a low intensity blue. Now I already have a texture saved on my desktop as a JPEG. So I went online and I found a photo of some rock, some granite, and I right-clicked and saved the image onto my desktop. So that's something that you'll have to do first. Excuse me, knowing that you want to use a particular kind of texture, you'll have to find a photo of it. So now here's what I do in order to maintain the color of my shape. I select the shape, and now I need my transparency panel. So if it's not already open in my side panels, then I can go up to the window tool and choose transparency. And now I have my transparency panel. With the shape selected, this partial circle, I will click on this, I call it the no smoking sign, but it's the opacity mask. So I have to double click it. That was within the transparency panel. It looks like my circle has gone away, but it's still there. It's just that it's transparent. Now I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to navigate on my desktop to my granite texture, my JPEG file. There it is. When I click Place, I have to click one more time on my artboard. See what it does? It places the texture within the shape, but it maintains the color of the shape. Now, the JPEG of the rock isn't quite big enough to fill up the whole partial circle. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and just drag out a corner of my texture image so that I fill the circle. And not only that, but I can click and drag the image around to utilize the parts of the texture that I want, or I can keep resizing it. Once I'm satisfied with its placement, I will click on the left thumbnail, which indicates that I'm going to stop editing the opacity. So that's again in the transparency panel. So I'm going to click on the stop editing opacity mask thumbnail, and that's it. And what's really neat about this is not only have I maintained the initial color of my shape, but I could still select the shape and go back and change the color like I could, any old shape. Maybe with my color picker tool here. Maybe I want more of a teal. So that's that way where you maintain the color of your shape. Let's look at the other way where you actually maintain the color of the texture. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this shape, and I'm going to go to my transparency panel and hit the release button. And now I have the image of the texture, the JPEG, on my artboard, but not inside the circle. Now what I'll do to actually use the colors of the texture is I will layer these shapes so that the JPEG picture is behind the teal circle. So I can do that in my layers panel right here on the side here. I'm just going to click the layer, the sublayer that contains my texture photo, and I'm going to click and drag it underneath the green circle or partial circle, and then I'm just going to click on that texture photo and position it behind my circle. Now what I need to do is select them both. So there's different ways to do this. I can click and drag a marquee box, except that by doing that, I've actually also selected the orange square. which I don't want to do. So what I could do instead is I can hold my shift key down, click on the texture image, and then also click the teal circle. And I know that they're both selected because if I look in my tool, or sorry, my layers panel, I can see these blue selection indicators, these little squares, on both the sub layers that I want selected. So I'm good to go. Now what I'll do is I'll go up to the object feature in the top tool menu, down to clipping mask, and choose make. And what that does is it puts the texture image inside the circle, but maintains the color not of the circle, but of the textural image. If I want to move the contents of the circle around, so in other words, the texture image, I have to select it, go back to Object, Clipping Mask, and choose Edit Contents. And that enables me to reposition the photo that's inside the circle, or even change the size of it. Once I'm satisfied, I just click off and it resets it back to being the shape, and I can move that shape. I could even resize that shape. If I change my mind about the texture and I want to release it, I need to select that circular shape, go up to Object, Clipping Mask, Release. And one thing about this, though, that's odd is that you often lose the fill of that original circle. So what I'd have to do is find it again and then, yeah, give it a fill again, some sort of a fill color. And then I could simply just delete that JPEG. So that's two methods to add texture, one where you maintain the color of the shape that the texture is going in, and the other where you actually utilize the colors within the texture. Have fun with that.